It's Friday night in the Squatch Zone. I thought maybe I would just jump in and do a little chat tonight, see how everybody is. I hope everybody's having a really good Friday night. I know I am. I've been kind of doing some research lately on the different types of Bigfoot. I got a call this week about the Xanu, and I can't remember what the other ones are, the bad ones, but I've been kind of tripping out on like I was watching, I think what's his name, Kunbo, and they talk about 4 different types of Bigfoot. Type 1, which is the kind that's in California. And actually, I guess it's all over everywhere. Then there's type 2. They're a little more aggressive. Then there's type 3, and they're more like, they got a big snout on them and big canines, and they're real aggressive. And then the type 4 is more like the Wolfman, and that one's like deadly. And hi Winter, how are you? And I was wondering, like, is there more than that, or is that it? Like, which one is the Xanu then? Is the Xanu the type 1 or the type 2, or are they a whole nother type than that? Hi Jan, how are you on a Friday, middle of the night? Hi John, how are you? So that, I had this call from an unnamed person wanting to talk about the Xanu, and it makes me think, like, are the Xanu that, like, they're Bigfoots, but they also are not Bigfoots at the same time. They're aliens or from another planet and all, just an interesting thing. Hi Renee, how are you? Been praying for you. I hope you're feeling better. I believe you're going to get way better. Going to keep that prayer going for you. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I heard 11 o'clock, right? I'll be ready when you get here. So, after talking with this he's really a cool guy. After talking with him about the Xanu, it started making me think I need to really look into this, since we've been having like dogman sightings around here, Bigfoot sightings, all different colors of them. Some of them, there's a little one. I don't, and they say he's retarded, and he does like a retarded talk compared to the other ones, and he has like a crazy look on his face, and he's smaller. He's more like 5'5", something like that, but still big, wide and ugly. They said he's really ugly compared to the other ones. Hi Amanda, hi Connie. And I was thinking, now, is that from inbreeding that one is like that? Because I know there's a lot of them and they're everywhere, all over the place. But what that one is, maybe it has Down syndrome. I don't know. It just got me thinking, after I talked about the Xanu and all the things the Xanu are doing, especially with this group of people, it made me think about, like, and then there's the Mugwee. Is that what it is? The Mugwee? Pam's not here yet, but I think she calls it the Mugwee. I had a shirt. I should have brought it out so I could show the Mugwee. And then, now, what type is that one? Now, when I was listening to Kumbo and their types, type 1, 2, 3, 4, the Mugwee wasn't in there. So that would be type 5. And then there's the Xanu, and then now which one? There's, what do they call the other one? They have a name for him. It starts with a K. I can't remember what it is now. I read so many websites trying to figure this all out. I have no idea if I've come across more than one type. I have no idea. That's kind of scary. Yeah, the Rougarou in Louisiana is the wolf type. So that, like, now according to those guys, that would be type 3 or type 4, and those are the real mean ones. Those are the kind that you run. You get the heck out of there. And they even say when you go into an area that has those, you park where you could turn. Actually, when you go, according to them, when you go Bigfooting or squatching, when you park your car so that you could run and get in it and go. Don't park it where you got to back up and turn around and do all this stuff. You get that ready to go at the very beginning. That way you can get yourself in a car and get out of there, I think that's pretty interesting. I never really thought about doing that before. Hi, Raven. Hi, Sam Squatch. Hi, Dayanara. And Elle, how are you? Fly Catch Full. It's a Friday night, and it's open chat, whatever you guys want to chat. I don't have a phone. All my phones died. Kind of weird, but every last single one of them, I have 3, and they all died. And so I always thought, man, it's Friday night, I could get people to call in, and I went gathering a phone. Nope, dead. Nope, dead. Nope, dead. Like, oh, well, we'll just chat. And I wanted to get your guys' opinions on these different types of Sasquatch. Well, I think I've only been messing with type 1 and maybe type 2. I don't think I've run into the real mean, evil ones. But then I'm not sure either. Like, maybe I didn't see them. Maybe those are the ones that were throwing boulders at me and screaming from a half a mile away and still rattling my insides. So I'm not really sure, how many of these different types I run into. Hey, Protium, what's up? And Amanda. Cool. I'll be in Jackson, California, November 2nd. It's called Paraquest. It's going to be a ghost thing. I think it's November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I think. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be the 2nd or the 3rd. I might be on the 3rd. I'm going to try to go for the whole event, and that's what I'm going to try to do. But I get 50 minutes. I'm going to go in there and talk about Bigfoot. But all the rest of the speakers, there's a lot of ghost and paranormal. That's what it mainly is. I'll be the only Bigfoot guy. A lot of it is psychics and readings and all that kind of stuff. Should be real fun. And that'll be November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Jackson, California. A Bigfoot Best Festival in Virginia. Man, that sounds like fun. Yeah, I was listening to Kumbo. Is that what his name is? Kumbo? And he had some slides, and he was showing all the different types of Bigfoots. And I've listened to it, but I never watched the video. I do that thing where, I put the headphones on or the earbuds, and I lay back in bed and I fall asleep. And I have it on my phone, and I just listen, and I never finish a whole show because I fall asleep. but I've heard about the type 1s and type 2s. That's the only reason I knew where to go. But I really was trying to find more information on the Xanu. Now that I can't find a lot of stuff on the Xanu. I'm very interested in learning more about these Xanus. And I do know that their planet was dying. They were somehow able to open some kind of portal, and they were only able over the years to open it and get one or two or maybe just only their self through, and this would be the more older, powerful ones, I guess, or the healthier ones. And then there was a bunch of them that couldn't, like something like 20,000. I guess there was way more than that, but supposedly their sun is heating up and it's cooking their planet. That's what they say. And the description, though, when the portal opens, the description is it's red. When they see inside of it, they can see the planet, and it's red, and all the trees are dead. It just looks like a dead area, and it's like a red glow coming out of there, and it's just nasty looking. I guess if I was going to describe it, I would describe it as like a hell is what it looked like, or sounds like to me. But a couple of guys went up there and they had some type of machine and they set it up, and it gave the enough energy for them to open the portal for an extended time, and then all of them ran through, where they got all of them through. And I guess some didn't make it through and passed away, but 20,800 and something of them made it all the way, and they're all on Earth now, and they call themselves Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Only they also could be orbs. And now we've seen orbs in some of our cameras, our game cameras. We've got orbs that in the game cameras, things in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden there's a couple of orbs looking like headlights. But you have to know there's no roads. We hiked in there real far in there and set these cameras up looking in a direction where there wasn't any lights or roads. It was actually in a heavily wooded area, so it couldn't even have been an airplane or a helicopter, because the camera was only 4 feet off the ground at the time, and in deep woods. There was no way that there was anything flying around with any 1 or 2 in the morning when the camera said that these things are flying around. And I heard about this ever since I was a kid too. These sometimes they're blue, sometimes they're aqua, sometimes they're orange, sometimes they're white, and they're like the size of a baseball or a mush ball, and they fly around all around. And usually it'll be after or before Bigfoot sightings, sometimes during, but mostly after, and sometimes before. Hey, James, how are you? And Raven. Wow. Hi, Joe. Hey, Joe, what's up, my man? I want to come up there. Oh, you're back up in Washington? Oh, man. I didn't get to go see you when you were down here, huh? Bummer. I really wanted to get over there. Yeah, no portholes, huh? That's funny, man. Well, I was talking. I've been talking to some people about with the Xanu, and it's pretty amazing stuff. And I was wondering, like, is that Joe? Is that who we've been dealing with, the Xanu, all this time when we're up at the spot? Are we Are we, is that who we're interacting with, the Xanu? And all, maybe we're, and over on the other side, where when I first had my sighting, was I seeing a Xanu? And is Xanu a type 1? That, when you look at Kumbo's thing, is that what it is? I'm telling you, it's got me fuddled a little bit. Oops. Yeah, that's a flute hanging on the wall. All that stuff's gonna change behind me, like that. This thing right here, it's gonna go away. I have something else to put right there, but I just wanted to. I've been playing around all week, moving the stuff around and moving the desk around. I'm not sure exactly how I want to do it. Yep, it's a Bigfoot flute. It has the crying Bigfoot on it from the Thule Reservation. Just Badger up there. That's funny, man. Yeah, they are in Badger for sure. But you're seeing badgers, right? Not Badger. That's funny. Yeah, the flute. It is familiar. I have so much stuff. I have boxes of stuff. And I have posters and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to try to hang it all around. And my wife's kind of like, I was trying to like crowd the walls up with stuff. And she says, okay, so this is your room. You can do whatever you want, but the bedroom's mine. I'm like, okay, it's all yours, So the ones you, man, yeah, I really wanted to talk with you about that. Maybe I'll have to make a trip to Washington. It's I could know why you left, man. Where you were at, it was smoky. It's really bad now. It is really bad. People are riding in ambulances because they can't breathe all over the place. The hospitals are jammed full of asthma people. The smoke is so thick that sometimes we only have a mile and a half of visibility, and I'm far from the fire. But they're all over, and it's really getting bad. I never seen it this bad ever. I'm froze? It says I'm good. It says I'm good. I don't even have an alert. At least not that I could see. Huh. Really? Huh. Interesting. I don't have. Yeah, I'm looking good. I even checked the YouTube says I have a healthy stream. I'm doing good. But I am running Wi-Fi right now. I'm not running. I have to run a cord or a Cat 6 cable from the router around the house to here. But first I have to cut out all these other cables. This house is old, and every time somebody got cable or ATT, or they always ran new cables. So there's multiple cables running all around the house, and all of them don't go anywhere or do anything. So, and it looks like crap anyways. So I'm going to cut them all down and then just have one line running from that room to this room, and then I'll be straight into the router. But when it's 105 every single day, it's kind of hard to get out there and do anything for any length of time. Plus the smoke is just off the hook. But I know that's why Joe went from here and went back up there, because it's not so smoky and it's not so hot either. Huh. I don't know what happened. I don't know about Trump's Space Force. I haven't really. I've been following Q, but I haven't really been following anything else besides that. I am kind of interested in Q, though. The closest fire to me right now is the one by Yosemite that's been burning all around the valley. I mean, it hasn't went into the valley, but it's all around the Yosemite Valley. It's in the park burning. It's where we used to live when I was a kid. I think that place burned down. I'm pretty sure they evacuated it several weeks, 3 weeks ago. And I heard it's still, you can't go in there still. Even Yosemite Valley is evacuated, but I did hear you can go over White Wolf, over the highway through Yosemite, and go to the other, to Mammoth Lake. But it's pretty bad. And where Joe Walls was, he was just outside the park, I guess, like southeast of Yosemite. So he probably, the Bass Lake area, that probably was just full of smoke right there. Really not good to be there. It isn't. They're making people stop working outside. A lot of different companies are calling their, people that climb poles and work outside. If they're bigger companies, they're calling their people in. It's so bad for the smoke here. I never heard of that before. I know they did it for schools and stuff like that, but I never heard of it. Like PG&E and cable companies and they're all calling them in or telling them to go home because it's so bad, real unhealthy. Hey, Bolt Gun, what's up? Hey, Ghost Wolf. I would think we're under attack. I put if you guys have me on Facebook, you could go on my Facebook wall. One of the last things I posted a couple of days ago was a fire captain. And see, and I'm researching this, the Ferguson fire and some of these fires. Like, where does the Bigfoot go? I think they actually go underground and get away from it. I don't think very many of them burn up. Now, if it was a volcano, that would be a different thing where, you're out there and all of a sudden, boom, you don't have time to run or anything. If you're further away, you do, and the ones further away probably got away, but the ones real close probably didn't, just like everyone else. But the fires, that's easier to get away from, and I'm sure they live in caves and stuff like that, and underground cavern systems that we don't even know about that are undiscovered, especially over here by Yosemite. It's all granite everywhere. I'm pretty sure they're all right. I'm not real sure, but I'm pretty sure. Hey, 3 Flash, what's up? Man, I seen their, oh gee. Cold Warrior, hey Cold Warrior. What's happening? Yeah, the Yosemite Valley's pretty smoky. The Central Valley is all the way up, like 400 miles from me. Up the Central Valley is smoked out all the way Sacramento, but they have some fires over there too. Anyways, I put this guy up. He's a fire captain, and he was living over by Santa Rosa last year when they had the Santa Rosa fires, and he thought they were nefarious because he only lived a few miles from where the fire was. His sister actually lived where the fire was, and she was saying there was 90-mile-an-hour winds and where he wasn't even that far away, 5 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, something like that. There was no wind. It was calm. He could see the smoke, but there was no 90-mile-an-hour winds. That didn't make sense to him. He was at the time teaching fire classes. And it was not anything they ever taught. It was nothing they ever saw. And there was pictures of beams coming out of the sky that were incinerating houses and cars and stuff like that. And he said he has seen cars melt, but he said what really was the telling thing was they would take pictures of the fire, and these beams would be going down, like hitting the hoods of cars, and there would be holes in the hood of the car. He said, now that is weird. So if you get a chance, you're on my Facebook, go watch that video. He says that the fires that are happening right now are very much like the ones that were happening in Santa Rosa last year. And he says it's pretty nefarious. And I'm not big on space conspiracies and all that kind of stuff, but you got Trump saying space war, setting up for space wars. Like maybe China's doing it to us. I don't know. Maybe Russia is shooting beams and burning up California. I don't know. Maybe our government's burning us up, the California government, because Trump said he's cutting off all the money. And how are they going to get their money? Well, start fires, and then they get billions of dollars for, I don't know. And it could be, like Bullgun says, it could be Agenda 21 also. But over by Bass Lake, is that where it was? Is that where it was at, Joe? Man, I should have went over there, man. I'll look that up. Goat Mountain. Were you on the lake, or were you over by Chiquita Creek campgrounds or something like that? Man, I hope Trump can stop that Agenda 21 thing. That is so lame. I say America first. Get the heck out of that stuff, man. We shouldn't be bowing down to anyone or any country. We've been paying for everybody. All their countries are all rebuilt. I mean, we've been spending billions on these other countries while we've been letting our country go to heck. All our jobs have went to the other countries. All our factories went to the other countries. I mean, we've got screwed so bad, and it's nice to see everything coming back to us. And I think we need to really support, even if we don't like Trump or anything, we need to support what's going on, because the idea is right. Like America first, and not all those other people. And they're going to be mad, and they're going to go kicking and screaming because we're not paying anymore. Well, we shouldn't be paying. We shouldn't have been paying. And our government should have never sold us out in the beginning. It never should have happened, really. And now we're taking it back. And I like that. And you could see it in the news, man. These people are freaking out. Yeah, that's what's wrong with the trees, Joe. That's what killed the trees. They say, oh, it's the bark beetle. Well, healthy trees don't get bark beetle. Only diseased trees or stressed out, trees that are stressed or, not healthy. Then they spray all that crap, and then they stress the trees can't get water because it blocks the root system. And this is proven. You guys could go look at this. And then the tree starts to die, and then the bark beetles have a way to get in because the tree isn't healthy, and millions. That's why these fires are, when they take pictures of it, that it's 300 feet flames. It looks like a volcano going off. It is absolutely beautiful in one way, but very sad in another. Man, I hope not, Bolt Gun. I hope not. Well, I'm all for getting out of whatever we've been doing. And now we're doing something new where it's Make America First, bring all the money and the jobs and everything back. I'm all for that. Kick out all the illegal. If it's illegal, they shouldn't be here, so kick them all out, you know. Hi, Jerry. How are you? Thank you, sir. It's going to change, though. The studio is going to change, or my little room that my wife let me have. I have posters, signed posters. Over the years, I've collected all this stuff. And then people sent me things like the paintings behind me and the flute. And I have bumper stickers and signs and all. There's not going to be an inch of white hardly showing in this room. The walls are going to be plastered with Bigfoot stuff and aliens and different things, that I've collected over the years. It's going to be different. And my wife's freaking out at first because she wants me to do everything like, I guess, girly, and I'm not too girly, sorry. Yeah, they're burning up there too. They are. Yep, it's the Squatch Zone right here. When you walk through the door, you're instantly into the Squatch Cave, the Squatch Zone. And you're like in a whole different zone when you come in here, or at least it will be pretty soon. I've been working on it between looking trying to find information on the Xanu, which isn't very easy. I guess I'm going to have to buy a book that somebody wrote to learn more about this Xanu thing. Because I believe the people that I've been talking to, I believe they believe what they're saying. Some of it is kind of scary to me when they talk about what these things, these Xanu, it does sound like aliens. Like they can't help us unless we want to be helped, but they are here to help us. And now that they're here anyways, they'll help us to get a higher vibration and make the change that's coming, that you guys all heard about that. Well, I don't know what to think about that, like, tell you the truth. Yeah, I did. I made some t-shirts. Oh, I wonder if I could do something about that. Let me see here. Let me see if I could add. Tonight's Friday night, open chat, anything goes. Let's all have a good time. Let me see. Okay, there it is. Let me see. Let me go to studio mode. Oh, I guess I'm in it. I can't see. Darn. Oh, I did it wrong. But yeah, tonight is anything goes, whatever you guys want to talk about. I started off with the Xanu and the different types of Bigfoot and stuff like that. I'm not sure what you guys can see on here, but I do have a store in this. and also a donation thing in this. It's called Streamlabs, and it actually it doesn't go through YouTube. And I think they built this because YouTube sucks. And so if you do anything, do it through this one. I mean, they have some really cool stuff like that. I could put a donation cup. People that subscribe, their name will come across and say, oh, such and such subscribed. And if somebody donates, it'll say donation, and the cup will pop up and little coins will drop into it. I mean, it's kind of cool. It was set up, I guess, for gamers, because the YouTube was really cracking down on everyone, and they were after the gamers. So I went to this, and I was doing it all through YouTube, and I would go into YouTube and do everything through YouTube. Well, then I started using OBS, and now this is the same thing as OBS, only it has really cool stuff. And I've been playing with it all week long, but not I haven't figured out how to do it all yet, all the way. They paid him with a 3-foot turd. Okay, the Xanu are tree people. What? I guess it must be some good shit, huh? Think it might be some good shit? I don't mean to laugh, but seriously, that's funny, man. Okay. Wow, thank you, Ghost Wolf. See, now if I had that, if I had this thing on, let me see if I could turn it on. I'll play with it, and I'll add one, and I'll show you. Let's see. First, I'll do the display capture. Okay, and if I go new scene, okay, so now that's what I see right there. But I'm going to go in here, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm not sure if you guys could see this or not, okay? Like, this is the donation part, I think. Yeah, and see that little dude running right there? And then I have merchandise right here, and I took my logo and I put it on shirts, mugs, hoodies, iPhone cases. I ran out of products. So, and then that one, I like the zippered hoodie, but they didn't let me put the logo anywhere. Like, I could put it on that side or split it down the middle. I thought, you don't want to split it down the middle. That's kind of dumb. So I don't like that one. I might get rid of that one. And then I wanted to add more colors, but every time I add a color, it's saying I'm adding a product, and it only allows me 24. So I picked out probably the cheaper shirts and maybe the mid-grade shirts, and I added some colors so that there would be some colors to choose from. And then I can even change the color of the logo, but it's up to you guys. So there you go. Let me see here. Oh, I need to go back over there. There we go. There we go. Nanu Nanu. Hey, I remember that. The Little People. I have a lot of stories. I have no idea why it was 99 cents either. I actually have a lot of stories about the Little People. My wife's grandfather, you can Google him. His name is Cecil Dick, and he's actually he's known as, or he passed away, but he's a Cherokee treasure, and he's real famous, or was real famous artist in the Cherokee world. Excuse me. Ate a bunch of chicken strips, and I always do that. I always eat right before I come on because I know I'm going to be a while, so I always eat, and then I sit here and. But he's real famous, and we would talk to him all the time, and there at one point he was painting a painting of the Little People. He would go in the woods and talk to him all the time. And he said what was really weird about the Little People is sometimes, like if you went to if they took you to where they stayed, and a lot of times you would go, he told me you can't go into where they stay unless you fast for 7 days. Fast and pray. And then you could go in where the Little People were, where they stay at. And if you went in there, and usually you went in, what was weird is you'd come up to a big creek, and they would take you into the creek, but then once you walked into the creek and followed them, you weren't in a creek. You're in like a mossy trail. But it was a creek, but it didn't look like a creek. And then you would go a little ways, and the like a big boulder, granite rock of a mountain would open, or it would have an opening that you can't see unless you're in that creek that you followed them to. And then you would go inside, and you might think you were there for a couple hours, and when you came out you would be gone for 2 or 3 weeks or more, sometimes, or less sometimes, but a lot of time. But they had a rule that if you couldn't tell anybody where you went, you couldn't tell anybody that you were with the Little People, and you couldn't tell anybody what you talked about, otherwise you would die. So, hey, thank you. Wow, you guys are so nice. I love you guys. Wow. I'm gonna go see Joe. You're Pam away, buddy. I'm gonna go see you up there. I'm gonna go hang out with you. But you go in, if you talked about what you saw, what you talked about, what you ate, things like that, anything about it, or where they are, where they live, how you got there, you would die. Within 7 days of saying what you said, you would die. And so he wouldn't go where they lived, because he didn't want to have that time aberration thing going on. So they would meet in the woods, and at one point he wanted to do a painting of them, and for the longest time they wouldn't let him. He painted the whole painting, but he didn't put the Little People in it. And he even told him that, like, I'm painting a painting of you guys, but they wouldn't let him finish it. And he wouldn't, because he knew that if you go against the Little People, you could die. So at some point right before he passed away, a few years before he passed away, they gave him permission to finish the painting. And I think we don't have the painting, but we have a print of the painting. And I want to put some of those in here too. We have few prints that he has. We don't have any of the paintings. I wish we had some of them. Some of the other family members do have some paintings, and I mean, little bitty ones that he did like this big go for $6,000. I mean, it isn't about the money to me, but they are valuable. And because of that, I think that so it adds sentimental value and value for the family later on down the line. But his kids, like my mother-in-law and her brother, they donated a lot of the paintings. They had a lot of them. Usually of them are huge, big, 10 feet by 5 feet, big old huge giant paintings. They donated them to the Cherokee, and they're hanging in different casinos with the Cherokee owned properties. They're hanging, like you go to the Black Rock in Tulsa, and there's paintings in there in the gift shop, and some of the cash cages, there's paintings all around in all the different properties. Even at the Bureau of Indian Affairs office in Tahlequah, there's big old paintings in there. One of them was right in the main room when you walk in, but they moved it into a meeting room. You can go walking around, and you could go in there and they let you like tour the place, so you could see the painting if you want, but it's in a meeting room. It's not right in the main walk-in room, whatever you call that place. That's what it reminded me of, Renee, was Gulliver's Travel, kind of like. And also the other one that I talked about, Rip Van Winkle. He dealt with the little people. And I guess the little people are all over the place, like Darby O'Gill and the Little People. You heard of that one? The little people are everywhere. And they're interesting. There's a lot of stories. When you get into the Native American lore, there's a lot of stories about the little people. But then also in Scotland, there's a lot of stories of the little people all around the world. There's little people stories, and they're supernatural somehow, but a lot of stories of them. And it's interesting to, like, how, I mean, for me, I've read tons of books on the little people. That's why I'm interested in all this stuff, and that's why the Xanu thing has me right now. I want to know, like, is the Bigfoots I'm messing with down here, not messing with, but researching and going and interacting with and stuff, are those Xanus, or are they something else that was already here? Or were they Xanu a long time ago? Or are they Xanu that came a long time ago and then stayed here? I don't know. I might be confusing everybody, because I'm confusing my own self. Have I ever heard of the tree carvings? I have heard of the tree. I have heard of them carving on trees. The Shumash. The Shumash, they carve trees, and the only problem is a lot of them are gone. There used to be more of them, but like wood doesn't last forever. And also people would not know what they would buy land, and then they wouldn't know what it is, and clearing the land, they would cut them down and burn them for firewood and stuff like that. Is kind of sad, because a lot of their history is gone like that. but there's a lot of people that own land that have petroglyphs, I think that's what you call it, on their land, but they won't tell anybody because they want to preserve it. So you can't tour it. Hardly anybody knows. But I know a lot of people up here in the foothills, and they have petroglyphs right on their land, and I've gone and looked at it, but they won't let you take pictures, and if you do take pictures, you can't say where you got the picture, because actually the Native Americans could come and take their land, so they don't say nothing, but they are preserving it anyways. So it's an interesting thing. Right, exactly, Joe. They're over there. Some of Disney has some of the best little people movies there is, like the Seven Dwarfs, for instance. Those are little people. They weren't really dwarfs. They were talking about little people. Wow, a scorpion carving. Man, I hate scorpions. I absolutely hate them. I hate monkeys too, but I don't like scorpions at all. Okay, I'll watch that video. Doc Johnson, July 20th. What's it called? Ziku? Or is that just correcting your spelling, right? You're really saying Xanu? What's the other ones that I heard him talking about? Man, I saw some of that, Renee. I saw some of the pictures of what they've been pulling out of the caves. They're actually looking like the gray alien stuff, and they're thousands of years old. That's interesting too. A Yamaha Banshee? Dang, is that some kind of gun that blew up in your face? Oh, Zyko or something like that. Am I saying it right? Zyko? Now those are the bad ones, right? Those are the mean ones that you don't want to run into. Zaziko? Zazyko? Zazyko. Kind of like Psycho. Remember the Psycho ones? Their turds aren't worth much, though, right? Man, I shouldn't make fun of them. I'm sorry. I shouldn't make fun of them. Howdy, Night Rider. Just having a little Friday night chatting. And I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, because I'm not here to have like a show. I'm here to hang out with you guys and talk about chat. So whoever comes in on this after it's recorded, and I've been thinking about sundowning some of the videos, because I like to hang out with you guys and chat with you and interact. But I know that's not really fun to watch later. So sometimes I might sundown, what they call sundown a video, and let it be up for a little while and then let it disappear, because it's really, we're not talking, we're just having a good time. I'm actually having a great time. And maybe, if the people it'll be all about the comments. Okay, so if you're coming in on this and it's not live and you're enjoying what's going on, just the conversation, say so. If not, put, sundown this video, it's not that great or whatever. Go ahead and let me know. It won't hurt my feelings, honest. But I do like to hang out with everybody, and I thought Friday night, what a good time to hang out with everybody. If they're like me, they didn't have anything to do. let's hang out, and let's have a Friday night. And I know some people it's Friday morning on the East Coast, but if they're like me, midnight, 1, 2, 3, I'm up all the time. So, you know, yeah, there'll be some good information in here talking about the little people and stuff. And what's interesting about the little people, and also Kalul, however you say it. That's the Bigfoot the Cherokee talk about. They also have that same power. Like if you go to where they stay at, you also get time warped. Like you could be in there what you think might be overnight, and when you come out, 3 months went by. And they also have that, and they also mind speak, and some of the stuff that I've been hearing, the Xanu, what people say, what I've been researching on the Xanu, they have that power also, that they could read your mind. Like when it talks about the Sul Kalul that married the little Indian maiden and took off with her, ran away with her, and had kids with her. He was reading the mother's mind. She wanted him to marry a great hunter, so he was a great hunter. They're great hunters. They're probably the best hunter in the world. These guys are the apex predator, right? They can hunt. And he would leave whole deer. He didn't butcher them. He would, and she kind of didn't like that. She wanted like a rump roast or something. She didn't want everything. And he was trying to please her, so he would leave 2 whole deers at her front door. And when she wanted firewood, she was saying, "Man, I have enough deer. He's been bringing me deer and game. I have enough food. I need firewood. Somebody needs to bring me some firewood." So then he brought a telephone pole and laid it at her door. Didn't cut, no cutting or anything, and that made her mad. And that kind of hurt his feelings, because he's trying to win her over, and he's reading her thoughts. She doesn't know that he's reading her thoughts, but he's reading her thoughts, and he's bringing what she wants. And then she's, I don't know, getting mad at him and saying all these nasty things behind his back, but he can hear her thoughts. So it's hurting his feelings. That's why he even ran away with her daughter, because he couldn't handle the mother-in-law anymore. And the mother-in-law, when they thought she aborted the baby, she was pregnant, and they thought she aborted it. And this is the weirdest part of the story. The mother-in-law took the abortion, the blood and the placenta and all, and probably the fetus, which would be just it looked like a worm. According to the story, it looked like a worm, and went and threw it in the river. And when he only came at night, he only would come in at night, and he would leave in the morning, and he wouldn't let anybody see him but the girl that he wanted to marry. When the mother saw him, she freaked out because of how huge he was. His feet were going up the wall. He was laying there all scrunched up, and his knees all bunched up, and his feet were going up the wall. It freaked her out, and she ran off. So she really wasn't hot on her daughter marrying this hunter. But then when she aborted the baby, and it was a little worm and all that, and she went and took it and threw it in the river. Well, that night when he came back, the first thing he did was say, where's our baby? And she said, "Well, I aborted." He goes, "I didn't ask you that. I said, where's our baby?" And she said, "My mom took it and threw it in the river." And he got angry. He was, is that how you treat our children? How you're going to treat my children? And he went to the river and found the little worm and brought it back. And he found it somehow. And within hours, it was already like a 3-month-old sized baby. Within a few days, it was already walking and, toddler size. By the time it was a couple of weeks old, it was a teenager or whatever. And she had got pregnant again. When he took her away, they were like, I think it was 7 or 8 days journey from where she lived to where he lived. And when he took her, the brother wanted to meet him and he got there too late. So then he tracked and followed him. And as he was following them, he seen the toddler's footsteps and they kept getting bigger and bigger every day. He would come to their camp. And I guess they slept during the day and they camped during the day. And then the night is when they moved, is when he would move. But when he would get there, he found where there was a toddler again. And there was little baby steps. And then when he found the next place that they stopped, the toddler was already, or the baby was already, bigger and toddling around. And then there was 2 kids by the time they got to where Sulkalu lived. The kids were kids, right? They weren't babies. And we're talking only like a week, something like that. I mean, it's interesting. If you ever, that's on the internet. You guys could read that one. That is so interesting. And it gives you an idea of what we're dealing with in the woods. That, and it's the same thing as the boogers. When now down in the South and stuff like that, before there was even what we call Bigfoot, the settlers already were calling them boogers. And that's how come, like, the boogeyman or the booger man, don't, better get in the house, the booger man will get you. It was the same thing for the Native Americans. They had the same, but they didn't call them boogers. They called them other things, hairy man, different things. But it was the same thing. They were all dealing with the same thing. So now the Native Americans been dealing with them and had wars with them several places over the United States way back. They're dealing with them. We're dealing with the same thing even still today. So whatever they say that the powers that these things have, they have now. So they could know your intentions. When you get there, they can know. And that's why I think that they're so, like, a lot of people don't see them. If you don't have the right mindset when you're in there, or the right, they don't deem you as worthy of seeing them, you're not going to see them. Either that, or they get mad at you, like you're doing something they don't like, and right where they live at, that you might see them, but you won't like it when you see them. They'll be doing something pretty bad to you. What? He takes the 3-foot turd out. I guess it really is good shit, huh? He takes it with him. How does everybody know it's really a turd, though? You could make something like that, couldn't you? Like, just take a bunch of Tootsie Rolls and melt them all together and put some seeds and stuff in them. That would freak everybody out, huh? If you opened the glass and grabbed a piece, yeah, it gives you powers. It's the good shit. Oh boy. I don't mean to make fun, really, honest. Nothing personal. Just, you got to look at it from my point of view. You're packing around a 3-foot turd. I guess that's really good evidence, I guess. Do you have, unless you take it to a science lab and get the DNA off it and prove that it isn't a Tootsie Roll or a bunch of candy bars rolled up or something made, I don't know. I don't think I'd pay to see a 3-foot turd, but if they offered to let me look at it, I would look at it. Oh man. It has to have DNA, It's got that slimy, turd slime. It has to have DNA. People, what? They pay $150 to sleep in his yard? Well, now that would make sense because I heard that people get healed. They heal people, these Xanu. They supposedly heal you. And I was thinking, man, I could use that. I could go for that. Go over there. I'm not going to pay $150 though. I'll sleep on the street. Thank you. Jeez. What was another? I've heard of the Lovelock Cave. I heard of the Lovelock Cave. In fact, when we were back there, there was a place you could go to some Indian mounds at the time. I hear you can't go there now. It's they shut it down, but it was on a reservation, and there was actually the red-haired giants in there, and you could pay and go in there and see them. See these big... And then that makes me think, like the red-haired giants, like most of the Bigfoots, or the Bigfoot around America have red hair. Like, are these red-haired giants that are men-like giants? Or are they Sasquatch red-hair giants? Like, I don't know. I'll have to look into that some more. But I wanted to go in there. Yeah, that's what I heard. People with cancer, brain tumors, all kinds of stuff are getting healed. Nerve damage, that like they help people with bad backs. Really interesting. Okay, so they trapped them and burned them up. See, they did the same thing here. They only the Bigfoot got out of the cave and they shot him up with arrows, but they still buried him, and 2 Bigfoot got away in that war. And I guess that was almost the end of the war, and the leader of the Bigfoot came and smoked the peace pipe, and they agreed on certain areas. Like, you can go in this area and hunt and live, and we won't bother you anymore. If you let us have this area over here and don't go in there, so you guys don't go here, we won't go there, and we'll have peace. And they hold to that still today. That agreement still holds today, still. Wow, nice, Knight Rider. That's good. I want to see some giant remains. I've talked to Richard Shaw, and he's L.A. Marzulli's buddy that does all his videos and stuff like that. In fact, me and Jeff interviewed him a couple times about the Torah codes, and he had a baby one, and it wasn't a real one, but it was like the cone head thing, and it was a little baby one, and it was a reproduction, but it looked real. And we were holding it and looking at it. We were eating in a restaurant. We met him at a restaurant, and he says, I got to show you this. And he went out to his car and came back with this little baby head, skull looking thing. And it had a big old crown, man. And it was interesting. and he said this is the baby, and I guess the giant was killed and it was pregnant, or died and it was pregnant, and that was in it, or something like that. But it had like hair. It had little red hair on it, and it was really interesting. I don't know if there's any video of that. I think if you look up L.A. Marzulli, he has that also. They made several of them, so you can see that. And it, oh man, it is so interesting. If I was more healthy, that's one of the places I want to go. I know I can't hike around, but I would love to go to Machu Picchu and all those places, and look around. At least all the places I could drive anyways. I'm not quite as bad as what Jeffrey let on this week. Oh, man. He's killing me. So seriously, it sounds like he's trying to kill me. But I'm not as bad as what he's letting on. But only he is right on a couple of things. Like, when we go out, the thing is when we're shooting TV shows, they know I make very clear what my limits are. I'm disabled, okay? And I went in when me and Jeff first started with this. Jeff asked me to help him, and I took 3 days to make the decision because I didn't want to let him down. I almost did not help Jeff because I know that I have limitations. And finally, I said I would. And then when he started getting, I don't know what, into his really hot pursuit, they were having me, and knowing what my limitations were, this is what I don't think is fair, kinda, is they were trying to have me do things that I can't do, and almost like setting me up. Now, only, I'm not the guy that's gonna say, oh, I can't do that and walk away. I'm gonna try to do it and prove everybody wrong. And most of the times I would do it. And I have no idea what that was. This thing makes funny noises sometimes. And then I would be on my bed for a couple of days after because I pushed myself and I did it anyways. What was not fair was having them put me in the position to have to do it in the first place when they know I can't do it. And I actually believe there's no production company in the world that thinks I'm some kind of liability, because I've worked for them even though I was disabled, and I told them I was disabled. And I worked for Animal Planet. I worked for Nat Geo. I mean, I worked with them, so, and 2 times in a row, why would they come back every time if I can't do it? They just don't have me doing things that they know I can't do. That's all there is to it. What I actually believe is going on is I maybe was getting too popular for, I think I was getting too popular and I was taking some of the limelight. I'm not sure. I just think that's what it is. And I'm not pretty like Cece, I haven't met Cece, but I hear she might be pretty, and I'm not that pretty. I'm a thinking. So there's that anyways. And we are friends still. Me and Jeff are still friends, and we still go out and do things. Only now I don't do what I can't do. I don't even, I tell him straight up, I'm not playing the games no more. Like, make me stand in one place on one leg for 2 hours, and on my bad leg, knowing it's my bad leg. Like, none of that's gonna happen no more, because I'm not gonna do it. So I guess I don't fit in anymore, because I won't hurt myself anymore in the name of being famous or whatever it is. Yeah, so I don't think he knew I was listening. I tuned in, and because he was saying they had some big news or something like that. So I just wanted to hear what the big news was. I had no idea. And then he started his show. He didn't even do the intro or anything. He started right off talking about how messed up I am and how I can't even walk 50 feet. I was thinking, what? And my wife was sitting right next to me, and I'm watching on this little tablet thing, and she's like, what did he say? 50 feet? Come on. And now there was a day I couldn't, and I was in a wheelchair, but only I'm proud now I could walk around Walmart at least 3 times. That's way more than 50 feet. And then I'm not laid up in the bed after doing it either. But if I go out squatching, I will push myself, and I'll walk 3 miles, 2 miles, and I'm enjoying myself, and nobody's holding a gun to my head. I do it. I enjoy it. And when I get back, I might be down for 2 or 3 days because I had such a good time. Now, if I went up there and I didn't do anything except sit around and camp, then I'm going to come home and be fine. But that's no fun, right? Yeah. Oh, the big news. He got his show. I have no idea. Well, only thing I understand is it's not going to be a talk show. So I don't know what. Now, the difference is this time they pitched him instead of him pitching ideas to them. He's persistent, so he finally asked them, well, all everything he pitched pretty much wasn't working. So he said, how do I bust in? Like, you guys are the guys that know everything. Why don't you make something up and then it'll work because you guys pitched it. So they did, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it was worse in the very beginning. It was Sam Squatch. It was way worse. I taught him a lot of what he knows about Bigfoot. He learned from me and Joe Walls and David Ragosa. He had no clue about Bigfoot, I can tell you that. But he's a quick learner, quick study. If he thinks that he can make money, or not really money, if he can get popular or views or famous from it, he picks up on stuff that, and anything that doesn't, that he will not even read it, look at it, talk about it. So, and I'm different. If I like something, I'm researching it because I like it, not because it'll give me 50,000 views or whatever. I don't really care about that part. I care about having friends. I'd love to have 50,000 friends, subscribers, whatever they call. I think friends to chat with. But I'm not doing it to have the 50,000. I'm doing it because I actually truly am interested in these topics. And one of the things I kind of regret is naming my channel Squatch Zone, because I didn't really think about it when I was doing it. I'm like, I'm going to do squatches, go Bigfooting, because that's actually my favorite thing. But only I have interviewed over 100 people, or in the hundreds of people, with UFO sightings and abductions and I've been to hundreds of hauntings, and we use psychics and ghost tools and all kinds of paranormal in the hundreds. Okay, in the hundreds, not. I mean, you have to take your shoes off to count how many, and use both hands and take your shoes off, and maybe have your family take their shoes off too to be able to count how many of these things. And that's a real interest I have. So when I did Squatch Zone, I was thinking, oh my god, I just pinned myself in to one topic. And I thought, well, who cares what the name is? I'm just gonna zone on all of them. And now I'm making sections in Squatch Zone. So now I have the ghost zone and the UFO zone, and I have the God zone and the chat zone. Like, this could go in the chat zone because we're just chatting. I read about that. The guy with the samurai sword, the guy that I think we interviewed him, and he chopped him up. He kept the samurai sword, and when the aliens would come in, he would cut him up. Yeah, the dream zone. There you go. And then there was Heidi Hollis. The aliens came in on her apartment, and one of them turned into her nephew. They came into her apartment. There's 5 of them, and they were messing around with their stuff, and one of them was holding her nephew's picture, and she got mad at him, and she was beating him up. Heidi was. And she went after that one that was holding the picture, like, put that down, put that picture down. And as it didn't let her hit him, but he fell over trying to get away from her and fell on the ground. And as he was falling down, he turned into her nephew, thinking that would trick her. The only problem is that picture was of her nephew when he was 12, and he was now a man. So, but it did, like, freak her out. Like, there's her nephew with the nephew's voice and everything saying, "Don't hit me, don't hit me." That's a trip. Okay, that is a trip. And that's a trip. Like, I don't even have words for that. I don't know what I would do. That would freak me out a little bit. It kind of does, just thinking about it. Like, what would you do? What would you do? Freaky. Oh, okay. We're talking about Heidi, huh? She's coming back. Her shows are coming back. I'm going to have her on. I'm going to call her, or I'm going to message her and see if she'll come and chat with us one night. Maybe a couple of 3 or 4 nights. She's fun, really fun. We used to have her on Paranormal Central every night, or every show, and she's always fun. I always had a great time, and I love her. She's something. I think it is too, Amanda. In fact, I'm coming to think, and a lot of people don't like hearing this, but I'm coming to think a lot of the things that we're talking about are tied together. Like how I was tying together the little people and Sulkulu. You go in their domicile, and when you come out, you have missing time, or a lot of time went by. If you talk about what happened in there, you die within 7 days. I mean, this is what they said. So are the little people and the big people related? And they're related in that way. They're also related in mind speak. The aliens also lie. They'll tell you all kinds of stuff, and then it doesn't happen. If you go back and read stories of what the aliens have told people over the years, it changes, and it's just enough to make people believe stuff, and they're very, very vague, and they'll tell you they believe in Jesus and God, the devil believes in Jesus and God. He knows they're alive. He knows that they're real. That's what's kind of throwing me about the Xanu. They admit there's a higher power and a Jesus and God. And what is it? They say, don't worship us. But that doesn't mean anything. Try using Jesus' name on him and see what happens. That's what I want to know. I mean, I used to think they were all different, but I'm finding they're different, just like there's different kinds of angels and there's all kinds of different. If we think God made every angel like a cookie cutter angel and that's all there was in creation, then we're pretty foolish. I mean, where did we come from? Why do we? So I think there's all kinds of different ones, and I actually think they talk all about it and tell us everything about it. And people don't want to believe that. And actually, people get power, like the voodoo stuff, they get power. Like there's a guy right now that you could go on the internet. I can't remember his name, but have you guys seen The Airbender? Did you see that movie, The Airbender, where the guy controls the air and he can shoot it and stuff like that? Well, this guy's kind of like an airbender, and he doesn't believe in God at all. Well, there's powers that you get from the dark side if you do certain things, okay? On the same side, the same token or the same kind of thing, if you have faith in God, you have power. He granted us authority to use Jesus' name. You want to see power? Start getting close to God and praying and asking him to reveal how you use that. And when he lets you know, you'll start seeing some things that'll blow you away, and it will scare the you-know-what out of all the people that we're talking about. And everything, too. You can make them run like crazy. They'll go screaming away from you. Aliens, demons, all that stuff. They'll be screaming bloody murder to get away from you. And I've done it a bunch of times, so it's a proven thing. Man, Jan, I actually talked to her after the show. Somebody told her to friend me, and she friended me, and I guess it was because what I was saying in the chat that night. She friended me and messaged me and wanted to ask me about the gifting and stuff like that. One of the things you never do is you never gift at your house where you live. It's one thing to go off in the mountains and do some gifting, but don't ever do it at your house, especially food stuff. Because once you stop, these things turn into really mean critters, and it is documented, well documented. You could go on the internet and read about it, about people that can't even live in there. They have to leave their house because these things they'll be in your house. They'll go in your house. They'll absolutely make your life miserable. You won't be able to go outside. You'll be afraid to go from your car to the door and from the door to the car. You don't do that. And I think he knows that. I don't know what he was thinking when he said that. That blew me away. I couldn't believe it. Yes, they will torment you. And I told her, whatever she does, don't do that. And I told her to, it's well known and documented also over the years. I mean, over the years and years, that if you want to get them away from your house, put up motion sensor lights, big bright lights that come on when there's movement. and that'll pretty much keep them away. Put some game cameras around your house and some motion sensor lights, and because I knew that a long time ago. The fastest way to get them gone is a big bright light. They hate it. They absolutely hate it. That light could save your life, believe it or not. Like if you're out there camping or anything, always have a really bright light, because if they come crashing through the brush, you're like too close to where they live or something like that, or they got babies and you're too close, they will come crashing through and they'll scare the living daylights out of you. They're not afraid of guns. I'm going to tell you that right now. Everybody thinks, oh, don't take guns, don't take cameras. They're not afraid of all that stuff, but they hate lights. I'm going to tell you, they hate lights. The fastest way to get rid of a Bigfoot is shine a light. I think so too, Jan. He was reading my comments because we used to gift all the time up at Dinky Creek and stuff like that. And I was thinking, did he forget what happened to his wife? We were up there, and we had his wife and his son, and his son was whistling. I showed him we could whistle, and the Bigfoots will whistle back. Well, they didn't whistle back. Nothing was making a sound. I thought maybe they moved on, and we went off into the wood, or Jeff and I can't remember who was with us. But they went off into the woods and to get the game camera, put new batteries in the game cameras, and get the little SD cards, and I was hanging out with his wife and his son, and the next thing I know, his son is heading off in the same direction that Jeff went. And then I was kind of torn. It was like, uh-oh, what is he doing? No, he's only like 7 or 8 years old. I'm not. And I didn't have time to tell his wife. I seen him going off, and she was like on the other side of the truck sitting in the shade. I didn't say anything. I yelled at him to come back, and he wasn't listening. And then I took off after him, and I made sure he was safe. And I worried about her, but I knew she could get in the truck. But I did worry about leaving her there. When we got back to the truck, his wife was sick. She was sick, absolutely sick. They had been infrasounding her, and she was telling us that she heard her son whistling for her, and she was like saying Christian, but only it was coming from the wrong way. She knew which direction, that because of where she was at, we didn't go by her, and so the whistles are coming from the other side. So she didn't fall for it. I think she would be gone today if she would have went into the woods in that direction. And I'm so glad she didn't do that. Then for 3 days she was sick after she got home. And you know how everybody has their own chair they sit in and watch TV and read and do all that? Everybody has their own little place. She had one of those. She has one. And I mean, they live in a nice house. I mean, both of them work. They make good money. They have a pretty nice house. They don't have fly problems. They don't live on a ranch with horses or anything around them or nothing like that. Well, for a couple of days, her little area was infested with flies in the house, buzzing all around. And she was sick, throwing up, and there was flies buzzing all around. I mean, that's from Bigfoot. That's from Bigfoot. And that is from going somewhere and interacting with Bigfoot. don't do something where you live and they're right outside your door. Like, don't do something stupid because that you're messing around with things that it's not, that is not a good thing to mess around with. I mean, if it's outside your door, you don't start fooling with it like that. Like, you just absolutely don't. And you put big lights up and you put curtains on the room for the kids and you move the bed away from the window, as far away from the window as you can in that room. I mean, just be smart about it. Yeah, I bet I was too, and I was beside myself, Jan. It actually, I was getting mad at him. I was thinking, man, what in the world is wrong with him? I can't believe that he would put that lady in danger and her son by telling him to do that stuff. And maybe he was innocently doing it. I don't know, or I have no idea what the motivation was. But that is so, man. I was hoping she would not do it, and I'm glad I got to talk to her. She's not going to do it. And she kind of knew that it was wrong. Only Jeff puts us across. He's like this. He's so smart and he's so all knowing and everything about. I've been doing this for 17 years, and people want to believe that, and only that was really not a good thing. Scary, scary. From Sacramento, I would say you follow Laura. Hi, Laura. I think you could just go right out and to the rivers and parks right outside the city, and you could find Bigfoot. I don't know if he has, Joe. He'll tell you. He'll tell you that he believes, but that doesn't sound like it, huh? I don't know. But that's so scary. That's scary. That's putting people in danger just being flat stupid. And I don't like to talk about people like that, but that was not good. I mean, he might not be my friend if he hears that we're talking about this tonight, but I'm sorry. That was not cool. And really not cool. I haven't talked to that lady since. I've been thinking about messaging her. In Jackson, I'll be in Jackson November 2nd speaking on Bigfoots at the ParaQuest. But there's Bigfoot around Jackson up that way. Oh yeah, man, he was saying kill a deer and go kill a deer and go leave it as a gift in your yard for him. Start gifting him and use deer and stuff like that. I was thinking, oh my God. Like, oh geez, no. Oh man. And I was saying it in the chat too. I was flat out saying, no, 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 please, no, don't give her that advice. And I was like, I hope she's reading the chat. Please, no. Yeah, on her porch. Yeah, leave it on her porch. That's like, oh my God. Well, I mean, we've talked to Ron Moorhead. We interviewed Ron Moorhead like 4 times and met him a whole bunch of times. And at the place where Ron Moorhead got his recordings and he was having his first encounters, the Bigfoot were taking the meat, the pig meat, like ribs and stuff like that, and burying it and going and he said there would be big, huge handprints where they would make a big hole and then put the meat in it and then bury it and pat it down, and you could see the handprints. So, I mean, you never know what they're going to do. You don't know what they're going to do. And that's the part why you don't do it, because you don't know what they're going to do. I mean, don't do stuff. Don't tempt fate. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, don't feed them. Now, it's one thing to go off in the woods somewhere, a 4-hour drive, and leave some apples or something like that. That's one thing. And you still might wind up missing if you stop doing it and you keep going in the same area. Like I know there's another thing too, is you don't shoot one. There's always more than one. So you don't shoot them. You can shoot if you're being threatened. You have every right to defend yourself, and I think they understand that. But if there's one running along and just you see it and then you shoot it, you better get yourself out of there, because they are going to come back on you. That's what the Indians say. That's what the Indians, they'll tell you that, like, you don't attack these things. They'll come back, and they're wild. Okay, they're wild. Even though they can read your mind and all kinds of, they're wild. They're the apex predator. They're strong. They can rip your head off. They can rip the door off of your car. They can flip your car over. I mean, these things are huge. They can rip a tree right out of the ground and knock it over. Huge trees too, like, like this big around trees. They just like, that is something you don't mess with. You don't mess with that. Yeah, she has them in her backyard, Joe. Right, that's right, Joe. There is all along the rivers. We're finding them down here by the rivers. Kings River, all up and down through Reedley. People been calling me about Parlier, Dinuba, in the orange groves, all through the oranges. And I think I figured out why they like the oranges is because they don't lose their leaves. So they could get in there and hide real fast. They could disappear in the oranges like quick, any time of the year. How's it going? Calster, how you doing? Man, I should have you call in. We should set a date for you to call in and tell that story, Joe. That's what I wanted to go talk to you about up there. But now that you're gone, we'll have to do it by telephone or something. Because I would love to hear that story. I'm sure everybody in here would too. Yep, all the lakes, rivers, canals, and all the orchards and up and down the valley that has canals and rivers running by it, creeks, creek bottoms, green areas, all that. Oh, hi, Callie. How are you? Yeah, it's easy to find them, really. It's not. It's actually amazing because I've been actually looking for them for 30 years, and like Joe and David Ragosa and some other people we know, we always were driving hours and going way up into the mountains, and because that's where I had my sighting, like way off, way up there, and it was hard to find them up there. I mean, not real hard, but they're very elusive. Well, over the years, they're getting closer and closer to people, and they may have been all along and I didn't know it. I was missing the clues. I wasn't looking. When I was down here, I didn't think to pay attention. And then, I got a call. We got a call from some kids that seen one right only like 5 minutes from my house, right out in the country. And sadly, one of those little boys committed suicide that reported that. And it kind of, I don't know if it was because David told him that he didn't see it and kind of a little bit made fun of him, and that kind of I don't know, but he commits suicide. And that was the first time that I got a report of them down here. And then we got another report right across the street about a year and a half later, down across the street and down the street. And the guy was all freaking out. And then we went out and where he said they were, and we found footprints in the oranges. It was like, whoa, they are here. We put some game cams up. We didn't get anything off the game cams. And then we got another call from somebody else along the same waterway. And we went down and over there. And now on one side, we're at canals and creeks. And then when we get to the main river, then it was on. Like there was a bunch of them. And they were running all down through cities, through little towns. They were using the river as a highway, going right down through the towns. There's peaches and nectarines and plums. There's all kinds of different pistachios, berries. I mean, there's everything all along these rivers and canals. So it makes sense now. I never thought of it, but like it's a smorgasbord. And right now, this time of year, right now is the best time to be out and about out there, because everything's in harvest for the next 2-3 months. I mean, it's like the best time to be out there. I wouldn't even doubt it for a bit. They can swim like no other. They could hold their breath for a long time. I got reports way before Jeffrey, before I was with Jeffrey, tribal members and friends. I lived up in the foothills and I worked for a reservation, and I would tell them I saw Bigfoot, and I got made fun of, man, you guys, in the 80s. I got made fun of, but I didn't care. In the 90s, I got made fun of. After a little while, people started like saying, there must be something to, he never backs off on what he says. He always is like saying they're real and that he's seen one. And then the people would start pulling me to the side, like, don't tell anybody I told you this, because I'll deny it to your face. And they started telling me things that they were seeing when they were fishing, when they were boating, when they were camping, and they were at the lakes. And I was blown away. I was blown away by all. And then I kept hearing about this white one. I heard about him over here and over there. And then I saw a video of him finally in Reedley. I saw a video of the white one in Reedley. Finally got to see him, not in real life, but at least I saw him. And he was on the same waterway and miles away from where, well, not miles away, but I got reports of him up and down for like 25 years along this waterway, mostly on the backside of Pine Flat on the Upper Kings River, and running around through the creeks that feed that river. And then I started hearing about him lower in, swimming in the lake, like jumping in, and the people never seen him come up. I mean, he would jump in and swim away under the water. They just see him disappear, and they never seen where he came up at. Even with binoculars and everything watching, they don't know where he disappeared in the water. And they finally, I mean, it's amazing how many people, and now, the the trail led me from driving 3.5 hours up in the mountains, way far, and only being able to look for Bigfoot during the summer months to now year around, only 20 minutes from my house. And it's a lot more fun now because it's 20 minutes from my house. I'm sorry I went off on this big tangent, but it's true, though. It's true. And if I could do it, all of you could do it. All of you could go find Bigfoot. And I don't care where you live, if there's rivers, lakes, parks, wild areas, creek bottoms, all that kind of stuff, and food around them, you'll find them. You just have to be a little bit persistent, a little bit patient, and know what you're looking for. And if you go out enough, you'll start learning what that is and researching what people are finding, and you'll find them. I mean, that it is that easy. It didn't used to be that easy way back when everybody was making fun of me and I was driving hours and hours, but it is getting easier and easier and easier. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, Jeff's on Paranormal Central. I'm not. I don't do Paranormal Central anymore. I think I've only went out with Jeff one time since we parted from the show. But that doesn't mean that he's not my friend. He's my friend. He's just gung-ho about being on TV, and that more power to him. I wish everyone success in whatever they do. Really, truly. If you could be obsessive about whatever, and I'm not going to hold it against people. I love people making their dreams come true. I like, and if I could help people, that's why I helped Jeff. I was helping. I wanted to see him make that dream come true. I knew I couldn't. I knew I couldn't do everything. I know I was disabled. I almost didn't even help him because of it. But whatever I could do, I could do. And if I could help people make it, then that's what I want to do. And that goes for you guys too. Like, if you guys have podcasts or YouTube, you're doing YouTube, or you need help editing videos, or what kind of equipment you want to start out doing, I could do it from distance. That's what's cool about the internet, is we can sit. If like I could sit and chat with you, if you have a little webcam on your computer, me and you could sit and chat, and I could help you set up your stuff. And I used to be I was a top manager in the casino. Like, I could help people that are trying to get in management positions. I was in charge of advertising with big budgets. Like, I used to promote teams buying sponsorships on teams. I bought big $1 million radio advertising, television advertising, newspaper advertising. I know all the little tricks and things like that. Like, if you're a small business person and you don't have a big budget, I know how to get more for your money and help you promote your business. You have to spend some money. You can't do it for free. Facebook kind of makes it easier, but you really do have to. Facebook is that's like a shotgun. It's like, even though it doesn't cost you anything, it's just like blasting out there, just like, no. Now, when you start advertising, then you're going from a shotgun to a rifle, and you're targeting target market, and you figure out what your market is, and then you can target it, and you can spend your money a lot more wisely like that and hit your markets. And I know how to do all that stuff. So, but I'm not good at, and I'll tell you right now, and that's where I'm lacking over here, is I'm not good at art. Like, I can't draw stick people. Like the t-shirts that I showed you earlier on my thing. I'm not good at stuff like that. So you could see where I'm lacking. When I was at the casino, I could hire that because I could afford. I had a budget, and I could hire artists and all that stuff and tell them what I want, and then they would do it. And I could say, nah, that's not right. Keep changing it, whatever, until I got what I wanted. I hope so, Sam Squatch. I hope so. I pray God stays with me and helps me and guides me. And then I thank him every night that for the blessings that he gave me that day. So every morning I'm praying that he sets me on the path to what he created me to be and do. And then I thank him at night for even if I don't think anything happened, I thank him for it because maybe it did and I don't know. Maybe I ran into somebody and said a little something and it helped and I don't know. And they walked away with help and I don't even know it. So I do that every day. There was a few stories in the casino. Actually, the best ghost stories I have is actually comes from a mall, believe it or not. That's my best ghost stories is from a mall. But yeah. So I'm about to call it quits though, you guys. 2 hours. I figure that's a good chat. It's getting late over in the East Coast. Gotta let people go to sleep. But it has been a fun Friday night, man. I love hanging out with you guys. Hey, Javier, what's up? I want to go out with you guys. I saw your text. My battery fried on my phone. It's still fried. But I was able to, I didn't know you could do this, but you could take your battery out. You can plug in your thing and you could turn your phone on. Who knew? But it's kind of messed up. The phone is. I got batteries ordered though. Me and my wife's, both phones, they're the same, bought them at the same time. Both phones, both batteries, they don't even last like 2 minutes. You turn them on and they start saying they're bad and turn off. But they're like 2 or 3 years old too. I watched BZ. I watched them all last night. Pretty good. And I've been listening to them. I've been working on in here, like all this stuff in here and moving things around and stuff like that. And I'll turn on people's shows and I'll listen, but I'm not really like, I like watching BZ, even though his is mostly like a radio thing. But he's great. I mean, he is entertaining as heck on YouTube, and I love to sit and watch him and listen to him. And so now I open it up in 2 different browsers, so I can have YouTube open and his SHR Media open, because all the chat is going on in SHR Media. Nobody's in YouTube. Only I want to watch him, so I mute the YouTube and I listen to him on the SHR Media and then watch him on YouTube, and it is so freaking entertaining, man. I mean, he really is good. Really good. He was white noise, huh? Oh, that's cool. Do I have, okay, wait a minute. I have a question here. My son just graduated from Cal Berkeley with honors. Hey, congrats. Right on. In political science. He must write a book about my life. My mom was really... Do I have any connections like that? Like writing books? I do have one, but they only do paranormal books. And she may know other people, but she's so busy. She used to be she worked for National Geographic doing documentaries, writing them, and in the same office they had an opening to, and she was always over in the book area researching and stuff like that, and she found she liked that the most, and she kind of switched over there. Now she's over there, but it is all paranormally related, almost all of it, and that's her thing. Yeah, BZ's fun, really fun. I'm gonna go when I'm in Jackson. He's in Sacramento, and I know that's not real far. I'm gonna see if I can't go get in the studio with him and hang out with him and do a show or two while I'm up there. I even been thinking about taking the train. I could get on the train here and ride up there, and then spend the night at his house or something, and go on the show, and then ride the train back the next day. Because I actually have known BZ since 2012. I met him at the SAC UFO con, and we've been friends ever since. And he's really a good guy, really good guy. 40-year law enforcement. You couldn't tell by looking at him and hearing him, though. But yeah, 40 years. He was a 40-year law enforcement agent. He was a deputy. And all my family was cops, so me and him we go together like that, kind of like, just because of the cop thing. Hey, how's it going? Haven't seen you, brother. I salute you back. I salute all of you. I love every one of you guys. Yeah, and FBI will. A lot of the like back when I was doing law enforcement, and my uncle and my dad, there wasn't a lot of FBI training and stuff like that. That came later. Like when I got into it, you didn't even have to have college or anything. You go and sign up as a deputy reserve, and he worked for free, and do ride-alongs with the paid deputies, and then pretty soon, if you were doing really good and everybody liked you, then you became a paid reserve deputy. And then when there was an opening for a full-on deputy, then you became a full-on deputy, and you had on-the-job training. So, and if you had family in there, it was a whole lot easier, because you could start off as a kid as a explorer scout and start riding along with them and getting to know them before, like in high school, before and it isn't like that anymore. Now you got to have post academy and all this stuff, and now they train FBI training and SWAT training, all this stuff. I was starting to learn that stuff, but I was mostly after that I was teaching. I taught for about 9 years. I was teaching self-defense, handgun, baton, takedown, and handcuffing procedures and stuff like that. So, yeah. Man, everybody in my chat is so cool, Joe. And not all of them showed up tonight. There's a bunch more, and these really good people. I love everybody. I haven't met such a great group of people in my life. I mean, all over the world too. I mean, there's people from all over the world. I haven't got anybody making custom shirts yet. I need to find a good printer. I found a place to buy the shirts. Now I have my design. You guys can look at my merchant store. I have a link to it in that little underneath the video. I have a link to my merchant store. I have Teespring. Forget that one. I'm going to delete that one. I'd rather do it through Streamlabs right here. But I want to get a local printer, and so when I go up to Jackson, I want to take some shirts with me and sell them. I've been posting, Laura, look for the ParaQuest. It's called ParaQuest. I have some of the posts on my wall. When it gets closer, I'll start having some of the people that are speaking at that event. I'll start having them on the Squatch Zone, and we'll sit and chat about it and talk it up and everything. So as we get closer to the event, you'll start hearing a lot more about it. It's really far out, couple of months still, easy. So when it starts getting into the last month, I'll start having the people that are going to be at the event, and I'll have them call in or something, and we'll talk about it and talk about what's going to go on and everything more and more. So everybody will be in the loop. Believe me, I'll talk about it a lot. I'm going to try to get Joe Walls I want to talk to Joe Walls really bad. I missed him when he was down here, and then I heard he even came by, and I missed him. I was so sad that day, out of all the days, and then I couldn't get up there to go visit him. I feel so bad. But it's good seeing you, Joe. It's the same people, same ones, only just in a different place. It's the same people, and I think it's different speaking people. So, but it's the ones that actually did the event. That's the same ones. Yeah, Jackson. Yeah, only 45 minutes. That's not far. That's about how, when I lived in the foothills, that's about how far I lived from Fresno. It was just enough, like when you live in the foothills and you got to shop or work in the city, then when you leave for work in the morning, as you're driving down the hill, first it's a beautiful view. And if it's dark still, you see the lights of the city and everything. But by the time you get to work, you have that 45 minutes to get your mind ready to be at work. And then after you leave, and you get off work and you start driving home back up the mountain to your house, you kind of you have enough time to prepare, get rid of work and all that you did all that day and think about things. And by the time you get home, you're ready to be home and sit out and look at the stars. In fact, speaking of stars, this Sunday, I think, is it tomorrow night or Sunday night? There's a big meteor shower, and I was thinking about doing a sky watch. I know the sky is really smoky here, but heck, maybe I can figure out a way to get out of town. I'll post that on my Facebook, and we'll see if I can't get something going where we could do some sky watching this weekend, right outside of the city where the lights are not at. I'll be praying for you, 3 Flash. Man, I lost everything, brother. I lost my ranch. I lost my guns. I lost my car. I lost everything when I got disabled. It took 5 years. And this is quite a story. I'll tell it real as fast as I can. I got disabled. I lost everything. And then I didn't have an income for 5 years while I fought for Social Security. Couldn't walk. Couldn't do anything for myself hardly at all. And now it was totally 180 degrees from where I was. I was totally self-sufficient and self-reliant. And if I got myself in trouble, I could get myself out of trouble. I could hustle up side work. I could paint. I could mow lawns. I could fix things, whatever. I would hustle it up, right? When you get disabled, all of a sudden you can't. And God helped me through. In the house I'm in right now, I had enough money to rent it after losing my ranch. And I had enough. I paid like 3 months rent. And then I got 5 years behind. The landlady didn't kick me out. The power never got shut off. The utilities never got shut off. The internet never got shut off. We didn't starve. We actually had other people come in that got in the same position, my kids and some of my sisters and stuff, and were living on us, taking this room that I'm in right now, and I was using it to rent so that I can make some money, and they would come in and they would squat on me and then not leave, and it took my income. I mean, it was really rough, but believe in God, have faith in God. God carried me through that 5 years. That was the only thing I could think of. I mean, I did not lift a finger to do anything. All I did was put everything in God's hands and trust him to take care of me. And he did completely. I'm still in the same house, and I didn't pay rent for 5 years. The landlady, I would pay what I could when I could, but it never was enough until I won Social Security and I got all the back pay and I was able to pay everybody back. And God takes care of people. You just got to believe it. You got to get to the point where don't worry at all. Just give it to him. And I know it's really hard not to worry, but don't worry. He has it. He can take care of you. He can sway people's minds to where they won't kick you out. I mean, anything could happen. A check could show up in the mailbox right when you need it and you don't even know where it came from. Somebody will come up and give you groceries, and they'll knock on your door and give you groceries, and you don't even know them, and they just show up. I mean, God can take care of you. Believe me, I'm living proof of it. Living proof. He could take care of any situation. That's how come I know there's a God, and nobody could tell me there isn't. Who's gonna take care of you for 5 years? God took care of me. We interviewed John Gress of the Anunnaki movie right before he did it. Remember that? We did that. But I'll be praying for you, bro. I will. I know exactly where you're at. But trust in God as much as you can and pray to him and put everything in his hands and trust him. He will take care of you. No, it is facebook.com/Sasquatchin. And I made it in a long time ago. I actually made Squatch Zone a long time ago too. I have like 3 groups called Squatch Zone. I have websites named Squatch Zone. I've been thinking about Squatch Zone for a long time. But yeah, it's Alan Thomas, or facebook.com/Sasquatchin. Yep. Pretty amazing. Hey, I'm fine now. I am totally fine. I mean, I don't make a lot of money anymore. I mean, I used to work for the casino, and I was the marketing director and also the food and beverage director and also the network administrator all at the same time. 3 top jobs at the same time. 2 of them were interim, but they never got anybody else because I could handle it. So I actually was pretty much running the casino, and I was making bank. And then all of a sudden, it only takes one thing to turn your world upside down. I mean, 1 minute you could be on top of the world living your dream, and then the next minute the rug is pulled out from under you and you're in a wheelchair. And I tell everybody, if you have a bucket list and you're healthy right now, if you're running around in a bad mood griping, and you're healthy and you're gripe and you only see negative, you're wasting life. It's too short. You need to get busy and start being happy as fast as you can, because you don't want to waste your life being negative and unhappy. You really serious, because tomorrow it could change and you'll wish that you were having a good time. Believe me. You'll be sitting there going, oh my God. Then you really have something to cry about. You know. Oh man. I like, if you're in a situation you don't like, and get out of it and do something different. Like right away, if you have the ability to, like, don't even stay unhappy for a second. If it's a relationship, a job, whatever it is, like, get happy, because life's too short to be unhappy, even for a minute. I'm serious. Yes, he does. Well, you guys, I really gotta go. My wife peeked in on me already a couple times. She knows that I'll sit here like we did that 5-hour one the other night. It was so fun, but she's like, you're not going to do 5 hours again. That's right, Joe. Right on, man. We'll have to stay in touch, brother. We'll have to stay in touch for sure. I love all you guys. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for Flash Can or 3 Flash and Renee. I'm praying for you. Your cancer's gone. Your cancer's gone. I command it to die in Jesus' name. In fact, I command Flash, I command your situation to get right now in Jesus' name, to be turned around, and all your needs be taken care of in the name of Jesus right now. And I pray right now, everybody that hears the sound of my voice, that you be blessed abundantly in everything you do in Jesus' name. So all you guys, that's what I got. I hope you all have a really good weekend. Maybe I might tune in here Saturday or Sunday, and you never know, might sneak up on you. We'll see you soon.